Dr. Amanda Voss had spent 22 years cataloging antique photograph collections at the Smithsonian Institution, but when she opened the cracked leather album that had arrived with the Whitmore estate donation, she encountered an image that would challenge every principle she understood about light, shadow, and the fundamental laws of physics. The album, dating from 1890, contained dozens of family photographs typical of the Victorian era, but one image on page 17 displayed a shadow that cast itself in a direction completely opposite to every other shadow in the photograph, defying the basic principles of how light interacts with physical objects. The photograph showed the Whitmore family gathered on the front porch of their estate in Salem, Massachusetts, during what appeared to be a late afternoon social gathering. 7 family members and guests were arranged in the formal poses, typical of the era's long photographic exposure times, their shadows falling consistently toward the northeast, indicating that the sun had been positioned low in the southwestern sky when the image was captured. However, standing at the far left of the group was a woman in dark Victorian dress whose shadow fell in the exact opposite direction from everyone else's, extending toward the southwest, as if she were being illuminated by a completely different light source that existed only for her. The shadow was sharp, well-defined, and perfectly proportional to the woman's height and posture, ruling out any possibility of photographic error or double exposure. Amanda examined the image under high-powered magnification, searching for any signs of manipulation or technical anomalies that might explain the impossible shadow. The photographic plate showed no evidence of alteration, composite work, or multiple exposures that were occasionally used by Victorian photographers for artistic effect. The chemical composition and aging patterns were consistent with authentic 1890 photographic processes, and the image quality showed none of the distortions that would accompany attempts at manual retouching. Most disturbing was the discovery that the woman casting the impossible shadow appeared in no other photographs throughout the entire album, despite the collection spanning several years of family gatherings and social events. According to the handwritten captions beneath each image, the woman was identified simply as Miss Catherine Marsh, visiting from Boston, with no further information provided about her relationship to the family or the circumstances of her visit. Amanda's research into the Whitmore family genealogy revealed no record of any Catherine Marsh having connections to the family through marriage, friendship, or business relationships. Birth records, marriage certificates, social correspondence, and newspaper society pages from the Salem area contained no mention of anyone by that name during the relevant time period. The woman appeared to exist only within the context of this single impossible photograph. The photographic evidence suggested phenomena that exceeded conventional understanding of light behavior and physical reality. Amanda consulted with Dr. Richard Chen, a physicist at MIT, who specialized in optical phenomena and photographic science, hoping to find some technical explanation for what appeared to be a violation of basic physical laws. Dr. Chen's analysis confirmed that the shadow pattern in the photograph was indeed physically impossible under normal circumstances. The consistent direction of all other shadows in the image established that a single light source had illuminated the scene, yet one figure cast a shadow that indicated illumination from a source positioned in the exact opposite location. The precision and clarity of the impossible shadow ruled out photographic accidents or technical malfunctions. According to Dr. Chen's assessment, creating such an effect through conventional photographic manipulation would have required techniques and equipment that were not available in 1890, while the quality and authenticity of the photographic plate made modern digital manipulation highly unlikely. The image appeared to document genuine optical phenomena that challenged fundamental assumptions about light behavior and physical reality. Amanda decided to investigate the historical context surrounding the Whitmore family and their Salem estate, hoping to find explanations for unusual events that might have accompanied the impossible photograph. Her research revealed that the Whitmore property had been the site of several unexplained occurrences during the late 19th century, including reports of unusual lights, strange sounds, and sightings of individuals who appeared and disappeared without explanation. Local newspaper archives contained several articles from the 1890s describing phenomena at the Whitmore estate that residents attributed to supernatural activity. The Salem Evening News had published accounts of visitors to the property who reported seeing figures that cast no shadows at all, while others observed shadows that moved independently of the people who supposedly cast them. Most significantly, Amanda discovered a detailed account from the estate's groundskeeper, published in the Salem Historical Society's newsletter in 1923, describing his experiences with what he characterized as shadow people who appeared on the property during specific weather conditions and times of day. According to the groundskeeper's account, these figures appeared solid and real, but interacted with light in ways that violated normal physical laws. The groundskeeper's description of shadow people matched the characteristics displayed by Catherine Marsh in the impossible photograph. He described figures who appeared normal in every way except for their shadows, which fell in directions that bore no relationship to available light sources, creating the impression that they existed partially outside normal physical reality. However, Amanda also discovered that the Whitmore estate had been the site of scientific experiments conducted by Dr. Marcus Whitmore, the family patriarch, who had been investigating what he described as anomalous optical phenomena during the 1880s and 1890s. Dr. Whitmore's personal journals, preserved in the family papers, documented systematic attempts to photograph and measure supernatural manifestations that he believed occurred regularly on his property. According to Dr. Whitmore's research notes, he had developed specialized photographic techniques designed to capture what he called interdimensional visitors, who appeared at specific locations and times but remained invisible to normal observation. His experiments had involved modified cameras, experimental chemical emulsions, and precise timing based on his observations of supernatural activity patterns. Dr. Whitmore's journals suggested that Catherine Marsh had not been a normal human visitor, but one of the interdimensional entities he had been studying. The impossible photograph might represent the successful documentation of a being that existed partially outside normal physical reality, explaining why her shadow obeyed different physical laws from those governing normal matter and light interaction. However, Amanda also recognized that Dr. Whitmore's scientific theories reflected the limited understanding of physics available in the 1890s, and that his interpretation of anomalous phenomena might not align with contemporary scientific knowledge. The interdimensional hypothesis required acceptance of possibilities that challenged established physical laws and scientific principles. Dr. Chen's continued analysis of the photograph revealed additional anomalies that supported theories about unusual physical phenomena. Spectroscopic examination of different areas of the image showed that the region containing Catherine Marsh and her impossible shadow reflected light wavelengths that were subtly different from the surrounding areas, suggesting that the photographic emulsion had recorded electromagnetic radiation beyond the normal visible spectrum. The wavelength differences were minimal but consistent, indicating that Catherine Marsh had been reflecting or emitting light in frequencies that were not visible to normal human perception, but which could be detected by the specialized photographic chemicals that Dr. Whitmore had developed for his experiments. The impossible shadow might represent the interaction between these unusual electromagnetic properties and normal light sources. Amanda realized that Dr. Whitmore's experiments might have successfully documented genuine anomalous phenomena that exceeded contemporary scientific understanding while remaining consistent with physical laws that were not yet recognized or understood in the 1890s. The impossible photograph might represent evidence of physical possibilities that challenged conventional assumptions about reality and dimensional boundaries. However, the investigation had also attracted attention from sources that Amanda had not expected. Several weeks after beginning her analysis of the Whitmore album, she received inquiries from researchers who claimed to be studying similar photographic anomalies from the same historical period. These contacts expressed interest in examining the impossible shadow photograph and offered collaboration on research that they described as having implications beyond normal historical or scientific investigation. The researchers identified themselves as members of organizations with names like the Institute for Dimensional Research and the Society for Anomalous Phenomena Studies, but Amanda's attempts to verify their credentials and institutional affiliations led to dead ends and evasive responses. The individuals appeared to possess sophisticated knowledge of photographic analysis and optical physics, while maintaining secretive approaches to their research activities. Dr. Chen reported receiving similar contacts from researchers who claimed to be investigating what they termed photographic evidence of dimensional interface phenomena. These individuals had provided detailed technical information about the impossible shadow photograph that exceeded anything available in published scientific literature, suggesting access to specialized research that was not conducted through normal academic channels. Amanda began to suspect that the impossible photograph had attracted attention from research organizations that operated beyond normal academic and governmental institutions, possibly indicating that similar anomalous phenomena had been systematically studied and documented by groups with objectives and resources that exceeded conventional scientific research programs. The pattern of secretive contacts suggested that photographic documentation of anomalous phenomena might be more common than generally recognized, and that specialized organizations had developed expertise in identifying and analyzing such evidence. The impossible shadow photograph might represent one documented example of phenomena that were systematically catalogued and studied by researchers with capabilities that exceeded normal institutional resources. However, Amanda also recognized that involvement with such organizations might compromise the integrity of her academic research, while potentially exposing her to activities and objectives that operated beyond normal scientific ethics and accountability. The situation required careful consideration of the balance between research opportunities and professional responsibilities. The investigation had revealed that the 1890 photograph might document genuine anomalous phenomena, while also demonstrating the existence of research networks that studied such occurrences outside normal academic and governmental oversight. Amanda faced decisions about how to proceed with research that had implications beyond conventional historical analysis while maintaining ethical and professional standards. Dr. Whitmore's journals provided additional context for understanding both the anomalous photograph and the contemporary research interest it had attracted. According to his detailed records, the experiments that had produced the impossible shadow image had been conducted in collaboration with researchers from various institutions who shared interests in documenting supernatural phenomena through scientific methods. The collaborative network described in Dr. Whitmore's papers included scientists, photographers, and investigators from across New England who had developed coordinated approaches to studying anomalous phenomena that appeared at specific locations and times throughout the region. Their work had involved systematic documentation, technical experimentation, and theoretical development aimed at understanding supernatural manifestations through scientific principles. However, Dr. Whitmore's journals also contained references to conflicts within the research network about the ethics and implications of their discoveries. Some members had advocated for public disclosure of their findings, while others had insisted on maintaining secrecy about phenomena that might cause social disruption or attract unwanted attention from governmental and religious authorities. The historical conflicts paralleled Amanda's contemporary situation, suggesting that research into anomalous phenomena consistently created ethical dilemmas about disclosure, accountability, and the responsibilities that accompanied discoveries of phenomena that challenged conventional understanding of reality and physical laws. Amanda decided to focus her investigation on documenting the historical context and technical characteristics of the impossible photograph while avoiding involvement with contemporary research organizations whose objectives and methods remained unclear. Her approach prioritized academic integrity and professional ethics while maintaining openness to possibilities that exceeded conventional scientific frameworks. The analysis revealed that the impossible shadow photograph represented a unique historical document that provided evidence of phenomena that challenged established physical laws while demonstrating sophisticated experimental techniques that were remarkably advanced for the 1890s. Dr. Whitmore's work had achieved documentation of anomalous phenomena that exceeded the technical capabilities typically associated with Victorian-era scientific research. However, the investigation had also demonstrated the complex challenges involved in researching phenomena that attracted attention from organizations with undisclosed objectives and methods. Amanda's experience highlighted the need for ethical frameworks that could address discoveries of anomalous phenomena while maintaining scientific integrity and professional accountability. The mysterious Catherine Marsh, whose impossible shadow had initiated the investigation, remained an enigma whose true nature challenged conventional assumptions about human identity and physical reality. Her single documented appearance in the 1890 photograph suggested phenomena that exceeded normal human characteristics, while raising fundamental questions about the nature of consciousness and dimensional boundaries. Amanda's final report on the impossible shadow photograph established it as a unique historical document that provided evidence of anomalous optical phenomena while demonstrating the sophisticated experimental capabilities of Victorian-era supernatural research. The image remained as permanent documentation of possibilities that challenged conventional understanding of light behavior and physical reality. However, the investigation had also revealed that research into anomalous phenomena required careful consideration of ethical responsibilities and professional obligations when dealing with discoveries that attracted attention from organizations with objectives and capabilities that exceeded normal academic and scientific institutions. The impossible photograph had become a catalyst for broader questions about the responsibilities that accompanied documentation of phenomena that challenged fundamental assumptions about reality and scientific knowledge. The research had demonstrated that historical investigation could reveal evidence of anomalous phenomena while also highlighting the complex challenges involved in maintaining scientific integrity when studying occurrences that operated beyond conventional physical laws and attracted interest from organizations with undisclosed research agendas and objectives. Amanda's work had established important precedents for investigating photographic evidence of anomalous phenomena, while maintaining ethical standards and professional accountability in areas where scientific discovery intersected with possibilities that challenged established frameworks of knowledge and understanding. The impossible shadow that had captured her attention remained as evidence of phenomena that exceeded conventional scientific explanation, while serving as a reminder that historical investigation could reveal possibilities that demanded both rigorous analysis and careful consideration of the ethical implications of discoveries that challenged fundamental assumptions about the nature of physical reality. Catherine Marsh, the mysterious figure whose impossible shadow had initiated the entire investigation, would forever remain an enigma whose documented existence challenged conventional understanding of human identity and physical laws, while serving as evidence that reality might contain possibilities that exceeded normal scientific frameworks and demanded ongoing investigation through ethical and accountable research methods. The forgotten 1890 album had contained not merely historical curiosity, but evidence of phenomena that operated beyond conventional physical laws, while demonstrating the sophisticated capabilities of researchers who had documented anomalous occurrences more than a century before contemporary science had developed frameworks for understanding such possibilities. However, Amanda's investigation had also revealed that documentation of anomalous phenomena consistently attracted attention from research organizations that operated beyond normal academic oversight, suggesting that systematic study of supernatural occurrences had been conducted by specialized groups whose objectives and methods remained largely hidden from conventional scientific and governmental institutions. The impossible photograph would remain as permanent evidence of anomalous phenomena, while also serving as a catalyst for ongoing questions about the ethical responsibilities that accompanied research into occurrences that challenged established scientific knowledge and attracted attention from organizations with capabilities and objectives that exceeded normal institutional frameworks. The mystery that had begun with an impossible shadow had revealed evidence of systematic research into supernatural phenomena that had been conducted for over a century by networks of investigators whose work operated beyond conventional academic and governmental oversight, while documenting occurrences that challenged fundamental assumptions about physical reality and dimensional boundaries. Amanda's experience had demonstrated that historical investigation of anomalous phenomena required not only scientific rigor, but also careful consideration of ethical implications when discoveries attracted attention from research organizations whose objectives and methods remained unclear while possessing capabilities that exceeded normal institutional resources and accountability mechanisms. The investigation had revealed that the boundary between historical research and contemporary mystery might be more permeable than commonly assumed, with documented anomalies from the past attracting ongoing attention from researchers whose activities suggested that systematic study of supernatural phenomena had been conducted continuously across multiple generations and institutional contexts. The impossible shadow cast by Catherine Marsh in 1890 had become evidence of phenomena that transcended normal temporal and physical boundaries, while highlighting the complex challenges faced by researchers who encountered documentation of occurrences that operated beyond established scientific frameworks and attracted interest from organizations with sophisticated capabilities and undisclosed objectives. However, the investigation had also revealed hopeful possibilities for ethical and accountable research into anomalous phenomena through approaches that maintained scientific integrity while remaining open to possibilities that exceeded conventional understanding of physical laws and reality boundaries. Amanda's work had established precedents for investigating supernatural occurrences while prioritizing professional ethics and academic accountability. The Forgotten Album had served as a gateway to understanding phenomena that challenged conventional scientific knowledge while demonstrating the importance of maintaining ethical standards when researching occurrences that attracted attention from organizations whose capabilities and objectives exceeded normal institutional frameworks and accountability mechanisms. The mystery of the impossible shadow would continue to challenge researchers and investigators who encountered evidence of anomalous phenomena, while serving as a reminder that historical investigation could reveal possibilities that demanded both rigorous scientific analysis and careful consideration of the ethical implications of discoveries that operated beyond established frameworks of knowledge and understanding. Amanda's investigation reached a new level of complexity when she discovered that the Whitmore album contained additional images with subtle anomalies that had been overlooked during her initial examination. A systematic review of every photograph revealed at least 12 other images that displayed minor but consistent violations of normal light behavior, shadow consistency, and optical physics that became apparent only under detailed technical analysis. These additional anomalies included shadows that were slightly too long or short for their corresponding objects, reflected light that appeared to originate from non-existent sources, and photographic exposures that showed impossible levels of detail in areas that should have been completely dark according to the established lighting conditions. The pattern suggested that the Whitmore estate had been the site of ongoing anomalous phenomena rather than isolated supernatural occurrences. Dr. Chen's expanded analysis of the complete album revealed that the electromagnetic anomalies were not limited to the impossible shadow photograph, but were present throughout the collection with varying degrees of intensity that seemed to correlate with specific dates and weather conditions documented in Dr. Whitmore's experimental logs. The phenomena appeared to follow predictable patterns that had allowed the Victorian researcher to time his photographic sessions for maximum documentation effectiveness. However, Amanda also discovered that her systematic analysis of the album had triggered increased attention from the mysterious research organizations that had been monitoring her work. The frequency and intensity of contact attempts had escalated significantly, with representatives claiming urgent need to examine the complete Whitmore collection and expressing willingness to provide substantial compensation for access to materials they described as having national security implications. The escalation of external interest coincided with Amanda's discovery of additional materials that had been hidden within the album's binding and backing. These concealed documents, apparently placed there by Dr. Whitmore himself, contained detailed maps of locations throughout New England where similar anomalous phenomena had been documented, along with technical specifications for photographic equipment designed specifically for capturing supernatural manifestations. Most significantly, the hidden materials included correspondence with researchers from universities and institutions across the United States and Europe who had been conducting coordinated investigations into what they termed dimensional interface zones, where normal physical laws appeared to be compromised or suspended. The network of Victorian-era supernatural researchers had been far more extensive and scientifically sophisticated than Amanda had initially realized. Dr. Whitmore's concealed papers revealed that the impossible shadow photograph was not an isolated success, but one documented example of systematic research that had identified dozens of locations where interdimensional entities could be observed and photographed under specific conditions. The research network had developed comprehensive theories about the nature and purposes of these entities while maintaining complete secrecy about their discoveries. According to the hidden documents, the interdimensional entities exhibited consistent behavioral patterns that suggested intelligence and purposeful activity rather than random supernatural manifestations. The entities appeared to be conducting systematic observation of human activities while remaining largely invisible to normal perception, except during specific atmospheric and temporal conditions that allowed them to be detected and photographed. The Victorian Research Network had apparently concluded that the entities represented advanced intelligences that existed partially outside normal dimensional boundaries while maintaining active interest in human development and civilization. Their presence at specific locations and times suggested ongoing research or monitoring activities that paralleled human scientific observation of natural phenomena. However, the hidden documents also contained warnings about the dangers of sustained contact with interdimensional entities, describing researchers who had experienced psychological and physical changes after prolonged exposure to anomalous phenomena. Several members of the research network had reportedly disappeared under mysterious circumstances after claiming to have established direct communication with the entities they had been studying. Amanda realized that her investigation had uncovered evidence of a comprehensive research program that had operated in secrecy for decades while documenting systematic interaction between human and non-human intelligences that existed beyond normal dimensional boundaries. The impossible shadow photograph represented one piece of evidence for phenomena that challenged fundamental assumptions about the nature of reality and the isolation of human civilization. The discovery of the hidden materials also explained the contemporary interest in her research from organizations that possessed detailed knowledge of anomalous phenomena and historical documentation efforts. The systematic study of interdimensional entities had apparently continued beyond the Victorian era, with modern research organizations building upon the foundation established by Dr. Whitmore and his collaborators. However, Amanda also recognized that the hidden documents might represent the imaginative theories of Victorian researchers whose limited scientific knowledge had led them to misinterpret natural phenomena as supernatural manifestations. The interdimensional hypothesis required acceptance of possibilities that exceeded established scientific understanding while lacking the empirical verification that would be demanded by contemporary research standards. Dr. Chen's continued analysis provided additional context for evaluating the Victorian theories about interdimensional entities. His technical examination of the anomalous photographs revealed electromagnetic signatures that were consistent with exposure to energy sources that operated beyond the normal electromagnetic spectrum, suggesting interactions with phenomena that exceeded conventional understanding of light and energy behavior. The electromagnetic anomalies were subtle but measurable, indicating that the photographic emulsions had recorded interactions with energy sources that were not visible to normal human perception, but which could be detected through specialized analytical techniques. The pattern suggested that Dr. Whitmore's theories about interdimensional entities might have been based on genuine encounters with phenomena that operated beyond normal physical laws. However, Dr. Chen also acknowledged that the electromagnetic signatures could potentially be explained through natural phenomena that were not recognized or understood during the Victorian era, and that contemporary scientific knowledge might provide alternative explanations for the anomalies that did not require acceptance of interdimensional entities or supernatural manifestations. Amanda faced complex decisions about how to interpret and present her findings about the Whitmore collection and its implications for understanding historical and contemporary research into anomalous phenomena. The evidence suggested possibilities that challenged conventional scientific frameworks while attracting attention from research organizations whose objectives and methods remained largely mysterious. The investigation had revealed that historical documentation of supernatural phenomena might be more systematic and scientifically rigorous than commonly assumed, with Victorian researchers developing sophisticated techniques for studying anomalous occurrences that exceeded the technical capabilities typically associated with 19th century science and technology. However, the investigation had also demonstrated the complex challenges involved in researching phenomena that attracted attention from organizations with capabilities and resources that exceeded normal academic institutions while operating beyond conventional oversight and accountability mechanisms. Amanda's experience highlighted the need for ethical frameworks that could address discoveries of anomalous phenomena while maintaining scientific integrity and professional responsibility. The mysterious Catherine Marsh, whose impossible shadow had initiated the investigation, remained central to questions about the nature and purposes of the entities that Dr. Whitmore had documented through his experimental photography. Her single documented appearance suggested characteristics that challenged conventional understanding of human identity while providing evidence for systematic interaction between human and non-human intelligences. Amanda's expanded research revealed that Catherine Marsh was not unique, but represented one documented example of entities that had been observed and photographed at multiple locations throughout New England during the late 19th century. The Victorian Research Network had catalogued dozens of similar encounters while developing theories about the purposes and origins of the interdimensional visitors. According to Dr. Whitmore's hidden papers, the entities displayed consistent interest in human technological and social development, appearing most frequently at locations where significant innovations or cultural changes were occurring. Their presence suggested ongoing monitoring of human civilization by intelligences that possessed advanced capabilities while remaining largely invisible to normal human awareness. However, the Victorian documents also contained increasingly concerned accounts of entity behavior that seemed to evolve from passive observation to more direct intervention in human affairs. Several researchers reported encounters where entities had attempted to influence human decision-making or had provided information that exceeded normal human knowledge, suggesting objectives that went beyond simple observation of human development. The escalation of entity activity had apparently prompted the Victorian Research Network to implement security measures designed to protect their members from unwanted contact while continuing their documentation efforts. The concealment of materials within the Whitmore album might represent one such protective measure, designed to preserve crucial information while preventing discovery by entities that possessed advanced surveillance capabilities. Amanda realized that her investigation had potentially attracted attention not only from human research organizations, but also from the entities that had been documented in the Victorian photographs. The systematic analysis of anomalous phenomena might have triggered responses from intelligences that possessed capabilities for monitoring and influencing human research activities. The situation required consideration of possibilities that exceeded normal academic research concerns, including the potential for direct intervention by entities with advanced technological capabilities and unknown objectives. Amanda's work had entered areas where historical investigation intersected with contemporary security concerns that operated beyond conventional institutional frameworks. The investigation had revealed that documentation of anomalous phenomena consistently created complex challenges for researchers who encountered evidence of systematic interaction between human and non-human intelligences, while lacking institutional support for addressing the implications of such discoveries. The historical patterns suggested that researchers who documented entity activity faced ongoing challenges that exceeded normal academic and professional considerations. However, Amanda's work had also demonstrated that careful historical investigation could reveal evidence of phenomena that challenged conventional understanding while maintaining scientific rigor and professional ethics through approaches that prioritize documentation and analysis over speculation and sensationalism. Her research had established precedents for investigating anomalous phenomena while preserving academic integrity and accountability. The impossible shadow cast by Catherine Marsh in 1890 had become evidence of systematic interaction between human and non-human intelligences that had been documented by sophisticated research networks for over a century, while remaining largely unknown to mainstream academic and governmental institutions. The photograph represented one documented example of phenomena that operated beyond conventional physical laws, while suggesting ongoing contact between human civilization and advanced intelligences. Amanda's investigation had revealed that the boundary between historical research and contemporary mystery was more complex than commonly assumed, with documented anomalies from the past connecting to ongoing phenomena that attracted attention from research organizations with advanced capabilities and undisclosed objectives. The work had highlighted the need for ethical frameworks that could address discoveries of systematic entity contact while protecting researchers and maintaining scientific accountability. The Forgotten Album had served as a gateway to understanding phenomena that challenged fundamental assumptions about human isolation and the nature of intelligence in the universe, while demonstrating the sophisticated capabilities of researchers who had documented systematic entity contact more than a century before contemporary science had developed frameworks for understanding such possibilities. However, the investigation had also revealed that documentation of entity contact consistently attracted attention from both human and non-human sources, with capabilities that exceeded normal institutional resources, creating complex challenges for researchers who encountered evidence of systematic interaction between different forms of intelligence while lacking adequate support for addressing the implications of such discoveries. The mystery that had begun with an impossible shadow had evolved into evidence of ongoing contact between human civilization and advanced intelligences that possessed capabilities for interdimensional travel and systematic observation of human development, while maintaining largely covert presence that challenged conventional understanding of humanity's place in the broader universe. Amanda's experience had demonstrated that historical investigation of anomalous phenomena could reveal evidence of systematic entity contact, while highlighting the complex responsibilities that accompanied such discoveries, including the need for ethical approaches that balanced scientific investigation with security considerations and the protection of researchers who encountered evidence of advanced intelligences with unknown objectives and capabilities. The investigation would continue through careful documentation and analysis, while maintaining awareness that some phenomena operated beyond conventional academic frameworks and demanded approaches that combined scientific rigor with recognition of possibilities that challenged fundamental assumptions about the nature of intelligence, reality, and humanity's relationship with advanced civilizations that might be conducting ongoing observation and interaction with human development. The impossible shadow photograph would remain as permanent evidence of documented contact between human and non-human intelligences, while serving as a catalyst for ongoing research into phenomena that challenged conventional scientific understanding and demanded ethical approaches that could address discoveries of systematic entity interaction, while protecting researchers and maintaining scientific integrity in areas that exceeded normal institutional capabilities and oversight mechanisms. The investigation entered a critical phase when Amanda received an encrypted communication from someone identifying themselves as Dr. Sarah Morrison, claiming to be a descendant of the Victorian researchers who had collaborated with Dr. Whitmore and who possessed additional materials that had been hidden by her family for over a century. Dr. Morrison's message contained detailed information about the contemporary activities of the entities documented in the 1890 photographs, along with warnings about the escalating risks faced by researchers who investigated interdimensional phenomena. According to Dr. Morrison's account, the Victorian Research Network had been forced underground during the early 1900s, following a series of incidents where researchers had disappeared or suffered psychological breakdowns after extensive contact with interdimensional entities. The network had evolved into a secretive organization that continued monitoring entity activities while developing protective protocols designed to prevent the systematic elimination of researchers who documented anomalous phenomena. Dr. Morrison revealed that the interdimensional entities had not remained passive observers, but had gradually increased their intervention in human affairs throughout the 20th century, with their activities becoming more systematic and coordinated during periods of significant technological and social change. The entities appeared to possess advanced understanding of human psychology and social organization that enabled them to influence human decision-making while remaining largely undetected by normal observation. However, the contemporary descendants of the Victorian Research Network had developed increasingly sophisticated methods for detecting and documenting entity activities, including advanced photographic techniques and electromagnetic monitoring equipment that exceeded the capabilities available to mainstream scientific institutions. Their research had revealed that entity intervention in human affairs was far more extensive than anyone had previously realized. Dr. Morrison's intelligence indicated that the entities had established systematic influence over key institutions in human society, including governmental agencies, academic organizations, and corporate structures that controlled technological development and social policy. The interdimensional intelligences had apparently achieved positions where they could direct human civilization toward objectives that served their own purposes while maintaining the appearance of normal human institutional development. Amanda realized that her investigation had uncovered evidence not merely of historical anomalous phenomena, but of ongoing systematic manipulation of human civilization by advanced intelligences that possessed capabilities for interdimensional travel and sophisticated understanding of human psychology and social organization. The impossible shadow photograph represented one documented example of entity presence during a period when their intervention activities were becoming more systematic and comprehensive. The revelation transformed Amanda's understanding of the contemporary research organizations that had been monitoring her work. The groups claiming interest in her findings might represent either human institutions that were aware of entity activities and were working to address the threat, or they might be controlled by the entities themselves as part of their systematic infiltration of human research and governmental structures. Dr. Morrison provided detailed analysis of the methods used by the interdimensional entities to identify and neutralize researchers who documented their activities, including psychological manipulation techniques designed to discredit or eliminate threatening investigations, and more direct intervention methods that could be applied when subtler approaches proved insufficient. Amanda's systematic analysis of the Whitmore album had apparently triggered multiple levels of entity response protocols. However, Dr. Morrison also revealed that the Contemporary Research Network had developed countermeasures that could provide protection for researchers while enabling continued investigation of entity activities. These protective measures included electromagnetic shielding techniques, psychological conditioning methods designed to resist entity manipulation, and coordinated research protocols that distributed information across multiple investigators to prevent complete suppression of crucial discoveries. The protection required Amanda's cooperation with research networks that operated beyond normal academic and governmental oversight while possessing capabilities and resources that exceeded conventional institutional frameworks. The decision involved accepting support from organizations whose methods and ultimate objectives remained partially unknown while facing documented threats from entities with advanced technological capabilities. Amanda faced complex choices about how to proceed with research that had attracted attention from multiple sources with competing interests and unknown objectives. The investigation had revealed phenomena that demanded immediate attention while creating risks that exceeded anything within normal academic experience and professional training. Dr. Morrison's communications included technical specifications for modified photographic equipment that could detect entity presence with greater precision than the methods developed by Dr. Whitmore in the 1890s, along with protocols for conducting research while minimizing exposure to entity intervention and manipulation. The equipment modifications involved electromagnetic sensors and specialized chemical emulsions that could document interdimensional activities across broader spectral ranges. However, the advanced research techniques also carried increased risks of attracting entity attention while providing enhanced capabilities for documentation that might prove crucial for understanding and potentially countering systematic manipulation of human civilization. The development of more sophisticated investigation methods required careful balance between research effectiveness and personal security considerations. Amanda's collaboration with Dr. Morrison revealed that the interdimensional entities displayed consistent behavioral patterns that suggested systematic research objectives rather than random intervention in human affairs. Their activities appeared to focus on specific aspects of human technological and social development, with particular attention to innovations that might affect human capabilities for detecting or resisting external manipulation. The entity's systematic interest in human technological development suggested that they viewed certain advances as threatening to their ability to maintain covert influence over human civilization. Their intervention activities appeared designed to direct technological progress along paths that served their objectives, while preventing developments that might enable human resistance to systematic manipulation. Dr. Morrison's research network had identified patterns of entity intervention that correlated with specific historical events and technological breakthroughs, suggesting that many developments in human civilization had been influenced by interdimensional intelligences working to advance their own objectives while maintaining the appearance of natural human progress and innovation. The historical analysis revealed that entity intervention had intensified during periods when human technological capabilities approached levels that might enable detection of interdimensional activities or resistance to psychological manipulation techniques. The pattern suggested that the entities possessed comprehensive understanding of human potential while working systematically to prevent developments that might threaten their continued influence. Amanda realized that her investigation had revealed evidence of the most systematic and long-term manipulation of human civilization in recorded history, involving advanced intelligences with capabilities that exceeded human technological and psychological understanding, while operating through methods that had remained largely undetected for over a century. The implications were staggering and demanded immediate response from human institutions that possessed the resources and authority necessary for addressing threats that operated beyond normal governmental and academic capabilities. However, the extent of entity infiltration into human institutional structures raised questions about whether effective resistance could be organized through conventional channels. Dr. Morrison's network had apparently concluded that resistance to entity manipulation required coordinated efforts that operated outside normal institutional frameworks while maintaining focus on protecting human autonomy and self-determination through methods that exceeded conventional governmental and academic approaches to security and defense. The impossible shadow photograph had served as initial evidence for systematic entity intervention that had influenced human civilization for over a century while remaining largely undetected by mainstream institutions and the general population. Amanda's investigation had revealed phenomena that challenged fundamental assumptions about human independence and self-determination while demonstrating the sophisticated methods used by advanced intelligences to maintain covert influence over human development. However, the investigation had also revealed possibilities for human resistance through collaborative efforts between researchers who possessed knowledge of entity activities and who were committed to protecting human autonomy through approaches that combined advanced research techniques with ethical frameworks that prioritized human welfare and democratic self-determination over entity objectives. The research network established by the Victorian investigators had evolved into a contemporary organization that possessed capabilities for detecting and countering entity manipulation while maintaining commitment to human values and democratic principles that distinguished their objectives from those of the interdimensional intelligences they studied and opposed. Amanda's work had demonstrated that historical investigation could reveal contemporary threats that operated beyond normal institutional awareness, while highlighting the complex responsibilities that accompanied discoveries of systematic manipulation by advanced intelligences with capabilities that exceeded human technological and psychological understanding. The mystery that had begun with an impossible shadow cast by Catherine Marsh in 1890 had evolved into evidence of ongoing systematic intervention in human affairs by interdimensional entities whose objectives and ultimate intentions remained largely unknown, but whose activities suggested comprehensive efforts to direct human civilization toward ends that might not serve human welfare or self-determination. Amanda's investigation had revealed that the boundary between historical curiosity and contemporary security concerns was more permeable than commonly assumed, with documented anomalies from the past connecting directly to ongoing threats that demanded immediate attention from researchers and institutions committed to protecting human autonomy and democratic governance from systematic manipulation by advanced external intelligences. The collaboration with Dr. Morrison's research network provided Amanda with access to resources and capabilities that exceeded normal academic institutions, while also creating obligations to participate in resistance efforts that operated beyond conventional frameworks of governmental and institutional oversight and accountability. The investigation had demonstrated that some discoveries required researchers to make choices between personal safety and professional obligations, while recognizing that certain phenomena demanded response that exceeded normal academic analysis and documentation, to include active resistance to systematic threats to human autonomy and civilizational independence. The impossible photograph would remain as permanent documentation of entity presence, while serving as evidence that systematic manipulation of human civilization had been ongoing for over a century through methods that challenged conventional understanding of reality, while demanding innovative approaches to detection, documentation, and resistance that combined scientific rigor with recognition of possibilities that exceeded normal institutional capabilities. However, Amanda's experience had also revealed hopeful possibilities for human resistance through collaborative efforts that brought together researchers with knowledge of entity activities and institutions committed to protecting human autonomy through approaches that maintained democratic values, while developing capabilities necessary for addressing threats that operated beyond conventional security and defense frameworks. The faces captured in the impossible shadow photograph had become symbols of both the sophisticated manipulation techniques used by interdimensional entities and the potential for human resistance through careful investigation and collaborative efforts that combined historical research with contemporary security concerns, while maintaining ethical commitments to human welfare and democratic self-determination. The investigation would continue through secure networks of researchers who maintained protocols designed to protect human autonomy, while developing enhanced capabilities for detecting and countering entity manipulation through methods that preserved democratic values, while addressing threats that exceeded normal institutional frameworks and demanded innovative approaches to civilizational defense and independence.